Hello everybody, I'm Scott Poynton and welcome to another TFT Earthworm podcast. This week we're talking to a colleague of mine, Gerome Tokpa from the Ivory Coast. Jerome's working in the cocoa industry there and he visited Switzerland at the end of May and we spoke about his work. It's a fascinating story where he's seen how farmers are working away trying to increase the productivity of their cocoa plantations. In many cases they're certified by one of the global schemes, but actually they're not seeing either their yield improve or, more importantly, their income. Gerome calls it certified poverty. And here he shares some of the lessons that he's learned and the findings that he's seen and what we're doing about it to try and make the situation better. Over to you, Gerome.
Today, most of the farmers who are certified, in fact, do not know what is certification for the simple reason that the certification is actually prepared, done, financed by the agro-industry. What the people need really is really the certificate, just a piece of paper. It means you may have a lot of people, a lot of farmers who are certified in Ivory Coast, in cocoa plantation, who actually do not know what is certification. Because certification, like Rainforest Alliance, for example, for me, you are not supposed to be in a forest reserve. But we have seen certified plantations today, which are in forest reserve. This is one point. The second point for me is on the finance point of view. You have a lot of farmers, they get a premium on certification, and this premium is really like 5 cents. The people get 5 cents as premium on the kilogram of cocoa that they are selling. And the one who get more money on that, the agro-industry, the people who are, the traders.
The cooperatives and the traders who bring the cocoa together.
The cooperative actually get also a bit money on that. But the one who really get the money on that are the traders, the big traders who are exporting the product.
And what does it mean in terms of changed practices for the farmers on the ground? My sense is not so much.
We, like you said, we are working today with in the cocoa business in Ivory Coast, and we have been mapping about now 3,000 plantation, 10,000 hectares of plantation. And we have been mapping also some plantations that are certified. And we can really not see any difference between the certified plantation and the non-certified plantation, which means actually we don't see any big difference. The only difference we see is that the planter or the farmer is sometimes telling us, I'm certified and the other are not, or is getting the premium.
So he's getting paid a little bit extra, he's not changing his practices. What sort of certification are we talking about? Is it so-called sustainable certification, or is there's fair trade certification? I mean, are all the schemes similar in the sense that they're not having a lot of difference and impact on the farmers' lives?
We have, in Ivory Coast, we have 3 kinds of certification. We have the fair trade certification, we have the Forest Alliance certification, and we have the UTS certification. And we were in a cooperative with Bastien in December, in November in a cooperative. This cooperative was not certified. And my team was there in January, and they have already the 3 certification. It's mean what it's mean.
Very easy to get certified by the sound of it.
Very easy. Unfortunately, the certification scheme today in Ivory Coast, in the poor countries, is very linked to corruption, a lot of corruption. And like I say, it's just a piece of paper you can get as you want.
So it doesn't change the farmers' lives. They get a little bit extra.
Not that much.
But coming back to this concept of certified poverty, it's not changing their lives at all. These are poor farmers growing their cocoa, selling it into the global trade, not getting much for their product and not getting much benefit.
No, we have been certifying the certification scheme in Ivory is like about 15 years ago. And you have just to look at where the farmers are today. They are under the poverty level. So for me, and it's also one of the reasons we are trying to set up really this new way of working with the farmers. The certification really didn't change anything as far as I'm concerned. And the most important point for us today is really to see how we can increase, because it's only that way they can allow the farmers to really have more income, more money. It is to increase the productivity in the cocoa plantation. And since 15 years ago, the certification has been set up, and the productivity of the plantation is today between 300, or we have seen 250 kilogram per hectare, 200 kilogram per hectare, where we know that we can go till 1,000 kilograms per hectare, 1 ton per hectare. So the certification for me today didn't change that much the income of farmers.
The income of the farmers and the overall system for growing cocoa. It sounds like the productivity of the plantations have actually gone down, which is hardly sustainable if it's actually going down, and it's hardly sustainable if the system requires farmers to live in poverty. So you touched on it a little bit there, Gerome. What are you and TFT trying to do differently to bring change to this situation? And I should say, you mentioned about increasing the productivity. Whenever anyone talks about that, which of course there is a lot of talk about that now in cocoa industry, everyone thinks fertilisers and pesticides, throw on the chemicals and everything will be okay. And I know that's not the approach that you guys are taking. You're not saying no to chemicals, but you're saying let's use them wisely and let's not indebt the farmers further by having them actually having to pay out large amounts of money for chemicals, not get any training and using them, throw them all around the place, probably give themselves all sorts of health problems in the process. What are you doing down there? What's the team doing down there, mate, that's different?
Okay, the work we've in the cocoa business, we started it at the end of last year, of 2014, and the first thing we have done is really to see what is going on in the plantation, what is going on in the cooperatives, what is going on with the farmers. It is the first thing you have to do. What is the baseline? From where are we going to see the problem? You have to see the problem, you have to see the challenges, and it's basically what we have done. And we have done that because we have seen that certification was not working. The distribution of pesticide, of chemicals has always been as usual, and it is also not working. We are not saying that people cannot use the pesticide. We can use pesticide, but under certain conditions. You have to see, first of all, if the plantation need pesticide or not. You may have some plantation where you have some challenge because the farmer is not maintaining the plantation. And if you are using pesticide there without maintaining really, then it cannot work. And if you're using pesticide here and you, Scott, you are using pesticide, you are not using pesticide, and you are my neighbor, if we are not doing this integrated, pest management to see really our challenges and work together, then I may be using the pesticide, you may be using pesticide, and I not, then problem is not solved. So we have really to go from holistic point of view to see what are the real problems. We have a problem of maintenance. It's not just, using pesticide, but also doing other work to maintain the plantation. Then it is only under this condition that the pesticide can work. But if we don't know at the beginning if the plantation need or not the pesticide, then we are killing our people, because most of the time the people do not know how to use the pesticide. No PPE and every kind of pesticide, like paraquat, which is forbidden today, but they are using, we have seen a lot of gramoxone, and the chemical is paraquat, and they are using that everywhere. It is a problem.
It sounds like a problem, and I remember you mentioned to me once and you talked about the mapping of the plantations, because the farmers think they've got 3 hectares, and so they buy 3 hectares worth of pesticides and fertilisers, and when we've mapped these plantations, we're actually finding maybe they've got 1.2 hectares or something different, and so they're throwing on 3 hectares worth of chemicals onto 1 hectare, and yes, hello, we have a problem, right?
Then it is a problem, because it is also one of the reasons why the people are really happy with the work we are doing, because they are telling, wow, I didn't know before that my plantation was really 3 hectares, and now you're telling me, and it's not just the pesticide, they are telling me, sometimes I ask the people to work in the plantation to help me to maintain. And we discuss, they say, for example, the plantation is 5 hectares. I say, okay, it is like 5 hectares. And now you measure it is like about 3 hectares, which means next time when I will be discussing with them, I will pay less money than what I'm used to pay them. It is one situation. The second is what you mentioned. It is the use of pesticide. If they say that you can use 2 bottles pesticide, I don't know which kind of product, every kind of problem, for 2 hectares or for 1 hectare, and you are, or for 3 hectares, and you are using that for 1 hectare, then you are killing also your cocoa plant. So it is a kind of point we are at the beginning of the work, but already the people are seeing that it really what we have done with them, like mapping, doing the map of the plantation, help them to have really the size of the plantation.
Well, I think it's a great start, Gerome, and I look forward to talking to you about it in the future to hear how we're going. I look forward to visiting, in fact.
We'll be very happy for that. We're waiting.
Yes, I'll come and visit you and see the project for myself. But thanks for that update, and we look forward to hearing more.
You're welcome.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you very much.
And thanks very much to Gerome for that really interesting story. Certifying poverty. I think we need to do better. You can hear more podcasts from the TFT Earthworm program on our website, earthworm.net, where we talk to lots of fascinating people about the work they're doing on the ground to bring change. Thanks for listening.